After all that school, this is what you chose? My mother held my graduation photo between two fingers like it was something dirty. She didn't yell. She didn't throw it. She just laughed. The kind of laugh that hollows you out from the inside. Psychology, she said, shaking her head. This degree won't feed you, Mary. It won't pay rent. It won't put food on anyone's table. I sat across from her in our cramped living room, hands folded in my lap, throat tight. I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to explain all the research, all the possibilities, all the doors this degree could open. But her smile told me she'd already decided. I was the family disappointment, and nothing I said would change her mind. Sunday dinner at Aunt Gloria's house was worse. The table was packed, uncles, aunts, cousins, neighbors, who might as well have been family. Everyone talked loudly, passed plates, laughed at inside jokes. Then my cousin Brian arrived late, still wearing his hospital scrubs. "There's our doctor," Uncle Vincent shouted, raising his glass. Everyone cheered. Brian grinned, modest but proud. "Just finished a double shift, saving lives, you know how it is." More applause. Then my cousin Diane walked in, sharp blazer, leather briefcase. "And here's our lawyer," Aunt Gloria announced. Another round of cheers. I sat quietly at the far end of the table, pushing rice around my plate. Then my mother's voice cut through. "Mary graduated too." Everyone turned. "Oh?" Aunt Gloria smiled. "What field?" "Psychology," my mother said flatly. Silence, then polite nods. "That's nice," someone muttered. The conversation moved on. After dinner, I helped clear plates in the kitchen. Through the doorway, I heard Uncle Vincent talking. "Psychology? What's she gonna do with that? Sit around asking people how they feel?" Laughter. "She should have done nursing," Aunt Gloria said. "At least that's practical." "Or accounting." Someone else added, "Something stable." My mother didn't defend me. She just sighed. I tried to tell her, but she insisted. Now she'll see how hard life gets when you chase dreams instead of money. I set the plates down carefully, hands trembling. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just walked out the back door and sat on the porch steps, staring at the street. That night, I made myself a promise. I would never beg for their approval again. 3 months after graduation, I was barely surviving. I worked at a call center during the day, answering complaints about phone bills and internet outages. At night, I took online courses, read research papers, and built my skills. My apartment was tiny, 1 room, a hot plate, a mattress on the floor. I ate instant noodles most nights. I walked to work to save bus fare, but I kept studying, I kept learning, I kept building. One evening, my mother called. "How's the job search going?" she asked. "I'm working," I said. "At a call center," she replied. "That's not a career, Mary. That's survival." I didn't respond. "Your cousin Brian just bought a car," she continued, "and Diane's firm gave her a promotion. Meanwhile, I have to go," I interrupted. I hung up before she could finish. I stopped going to family gatherings. Thanksgiving, I told them I had work. Christmas, I said I was sick. Birthdays, I sent cards but didn't show up. My mother called less often. When she did, the conversations were short, cold, full of unspoken disappointment. I didn't mind. I was too busy building something they couldn't see. I had started freelancing, offering online counseling sessions, writing mental health content, consulting for small nonprofits. The money was small at first, $50 here, $100 there. But it was mine. Earned through the degree they mocked, earned through the skills they dismissed, and slowly, steadily, it grew. 2 years later, I landed my first major client, a tech company that wanted to improve employee mental health programs. The contract was worth more than I'd made in 6 months at the call center. I quit that job the next day. Within a year, I had 5 corporate clients. Within 2 years, I had 12. I wasn't rich, but I was stable. I moved into a better apartment. I bought a used car. I started saving money, real money. And I told no one. Not my friends, not my relatives, not my mother. I kept my life private, my success quiet. Because I'd learned something important. Proof doesn't need an audience. My phone rang at 2 in the morning. I fumbled for it, half asleep. "Mary?" It was Aunt Gloria. Her voice was shaking. "What's wrong?" "It's your mother. She collapsed. We're at Mercy General Hospital. You need to come now." I was dressed and in my car within 5 minutes. The hospital was bright, sterile, too quiet. I found Aunt Gloria in the waiting room, her face pale. "What happened?" I asked. "Heart attack," she whispered. "They're running tests. The doctors said she needs surgery." My chest tightened. Is she awake? Not yet. I sat down, hands gripping the edge of the plastic chair. For all the distance between us, she was still my mother. And I wasn't ready to lose her. By morning, relatives filled the waiting room. Uncle Vincent paced near the vending machines. Aunt Gloria sat with her rosary, praying quietly. Cousins whispered in corners. Then a doctor appeared. Family of Mrs. Helen Carter? We all stood. She's stable, the doctor said, but she needs surgery within the next 48 hours. It's not optional. Relief mixed with fear. How much? Uncle Vincent asked. The doctor glanced at his clipboard. Surgery, ICU care, medications, recovery. We're looking at around $75,000. Insurance will cover part of it, but you'll need to pay a significant portion up front. Silence. Uncle Vincent cleared his throat. We'll figure something out. The doctor nodded and walked away. Everyone looked at each other. Nobody spoke. Over the next few hours, promises were made. I'll talk to my bank, Uncle Vincent said. I can ask my church, Aunt Gloria offered. Maybe we can do a fundraiser, someone suggested. But I saw it in their eyes. Panic. Uncertainty. Nobody had that kind of money ready, and nobody wanted to be the one responsible. I sat quietly in the corner watching. Then I stood up. I'll handle it, I said. Everyone turned. What? Uncle Vincent frowned. I'll cover the bills, I repeated calmly. Aunt Gloria blinked. Mary, that's $75,000. I know. You don't have that kind of money, my mother's sister said gently, like she was talking to a child. I didn't argue. I just walked to the billing office. The woman at the desk looked tired. How can I help you? I'm here about Helen Carter's account. I want everything billed to me. She typed something into her computer. Are you immediate family? I'm her daughter. Okay, the estimated total is $76,800. Insurance is processing, but you'll need to cover at least $40,000 up front. I handed her my card. She looked at me, then at the card, then back at me. You're sure? I'm sure. She ran the card, it went through. You're all set, she said quietly. We'll send receipts to your email. Thank you. I walked back to the waiting room. Nobody asked where I'd been. They were too busy arguing about fundraisers and loan options. I sat down and waited. The surgery took 6 hours. When the doctor finally came out, we all stood again. She did well, he said. She'll need a few days in ICU, then recovery. But she's stable. We all exhaled. Aunt Gloria hugged me. Uncle Vincent clapped me on the shoulder. Cousins smiled. Nobody mentioned the bills. They assumed someone else was handling it. Maybe the hospital had payment plans. Maybe insurance covered more than expected. Maybe a miracle happened. I didn't correct them. I just sat back down and closed my eyes. 3 days later, my mother woke up. Her voice was weak, her face pale. Mary? I stood and walked to her bedside. I'm here, Mom. She tried to smile. You came. Of course I came. She looked around the room, machines beeping, IV drip steady. How bad is it? She whispered. You're okay now, I said. You had surgery. You'll recover. Her eyes filled with worry. The bills, don't worry about that. Mary, $70,000. Where are we going to get $70,000? I squeezed her hand gently. It's handled. What do you mean handled? The bills are paid. She stared at me. Who paid them? I didn't answer right away. A nurse walked in to check her vitals. Excuse me, my mother said to the nurse. Do you know who's covering my bills? My family's been trying to figure it out. But the nurse glanced at the chart, then at me, then back at my mother. It's all under Mary Carter's name, she said simply. My mother blinked. What? Mary Carter, the nurse repeated. Everything's been paid. Surgery, ICU, medications, all covered. The nurse smiled at me and left. My mother turned to me slowly, her face unreadable. You? I nodded. How? My degree, I said quietly. The useless one. She didn't speak for a long time, just stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. You paid $76,000? Yes. How? You work at a call center. I left that job 2 years ago, Mom. I've been running my own consulting business. I work with companies on mental health programs. I counsel clients online. I write. I teach. The degree you thought was useless, it's been feeding me just fine. Her lips trembled. Why didn't you tell me? Because you didn't want to hear it. Yep, she closed her eyes. A single tear ran down her cheek. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'd waited years to hear those words. But now that they were here, they felt smaller than I expected. I mocked you, she continued, voice breaking. I compared you to everyone else. I made you feel like you weren't enough. You did. And you still saved me. I looked at her, frail, tired, humbled. You're my mother, I said. I was never gonna let you suffer, not because you deserved it, because I'm not you. She sobbed quietly. I pulled a chair closer and sat down. Over the next few days, relatives visited. They brought flowers, cards, prayers. Nobody asked who paid the bills. They assumed Uncle Vincent had handled it, or Aunt Gloria's church, or some insurance miracle. Until one afternoon, Aunt Gloria walked in while my mother and I were talking. "Helen, you look so much better," she said, hugging her carefully. "I feel better," my mother replied. "Thank God," Aunt Gloria said. "I was so worried about the bills, but Vincent said everything worked out." My mother looked at me. I stayed quiet. "Actually," my mother said slowly, "Mary paid for everything." Aunt Gloria froze. "Mary?" "Every bill, every test, the surgery, all of it." Aunt Gloria turned to me stunned. "How?" "My business," I said simply. She opened her mouth, then closed it. For once she had nothing to say. Words spread fast. By the end of the week my phone was full of messages. "Brian, I heard what you did. That's incredible." "Diane, why didn't you tell us you were doing so well?" Uncle Vincent called and actually apologized. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly wanted to reconnect. I didn't respond to most of them. I wasn't interested in attention. I was interested in peace. The day my mother was discharged, I drove her home. She was quiet the whole ride. When we pulled into her driveway, she didn't get out right away. "I don't know how to make this right," she said. "You don't have to. I spent years making you feel small, and you spent years proving me wrong. I don't deserve your forgiveness." I turned to face her. "I didn't do this for your approval, Mom. I did it because it was the right thing to do. Whether you believe in me or not, doesn't change who I am anymore." She wiped her eyes. "I believe in you now." "Good," I said, "but I don't need you to." 3 months later, I got a card in the mail. It was from my mother. Inside she'd written, "I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. I should have seen what you were building instead of doubting you. Thank you for saving my life, not just in the hospital, but by showing me what real strength looks like. I love you, Mom." I read it twice. Then I put it on my fridge, not because I needed her validation, but because it was proof that people could grow, even the ones who hurt you most. Family dinners were different now. When I showed up, people actually listened. They asked about my work. They respected my time. They stopped comparing me to Brian and Diane, because I'd done something none of them could. I'd turned the degree they mocked into a life they couldn't imagine. And I'd done it quietly, without permission, without applause. My business kept growing. I hired 2 assistants. I started speaking at conferences. I published articles in major outlets. I trained other therapists. And every time someone asked how I got started, I told the truth. I had a degree everyone said was useless, so I proved them wrong. Not out of spite, but out of faith in myself. One Sunday, I visited my mother. She was in the garden planting flowers. She looked healthier, stronger. "I never thanked you properly," she said. "You did." "No, I thanked you for the money, but I never thanked you for not giving up, even when I made it hard." I knelt beside her and helped press soil around a new seedling. "I didn't do it for you," I said gently. "I did it for me." She nodded. "I know. And that's why it means so much." Years later, I spoke at my alma mater's graduation. I stood at the podium, looking out at hundreds of students in caps and gowns. I told them my story. I told them about the mockery, the doubt, the struggle. I told them about the hospital bills. And I told them the truth. Your degree isn't useless, but it's not a magic ticket either. It's a tool, and tools only work if you use them. So use them. Build something. Prove the doubters wrong, not because you need their approval, but because you deserve your own. The applause was thunderous. Afterward, students lined up to thank me. One girl, tears in her eyes, said, "My parents think that my degree is a waste too." I squeezed her hand, then proved them wrong, quietly, powerfully. And when the time comes, let your work speak for itself. I never needed my mother's approval to succeed, but I won't lie, it felt good when she finally gave it. Not because it validated me, but because it proved something important. People can change. Relationships can heal. And sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't bitterness. It's becoming exactly who you were meant to be. My mother and I have coffee now, every Sunday. She asks about my clients, my projects, my life. She listens. She apologizes when she remembers the old days. And I forgive her. Not because I had to, but because I chose to. I didn't save her life for revenge. I saved it because love doesn't keep score. And because the girl who once sat silently at family dinners, absorbing every insult, every doubt, every dismissive laugh, she grew into a woman who didn't need anyone's permission to matter. The degree was never useless. The doubters were just blind. And in the end, the only approval I ever needed was my own.